All right, guys, we just had a staggering number of polls drop from Emerson, and we have some stunning results. They did polling across several states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, with some mixed results. Now, yesterday we just had polling coming out of Pennsylvania that had Harris up by 6 points in one and five in the other. And now we have an Emerson poll where Harris is losing by one. And I am a bit confused, or let's unpack this sort of confusion. Well, let's look at some of the other results. So this poll has Trump up by one in Arizona. That is down from past results. Up by three in Georgia. That is up from past results, at least for Trump. Michigan, Harris is leading by two. Nevada, it looks virtually tied. North Carolina, Harris is up by one. Trump doing better in Pennsylvania, and then in Wisconsin, Trump leading by one. Um, my takeaway from this smattering of polling is that, um, again, it's going to depend on your perspective and sort of how you read into this. But this is a very confusing and sort of inconsistent set of polling, wherein you have Trump doing significantly better in a state like Georgia, where in some other polling, Harris seems to be doing more strongly. And then in North Carolina, for example, Harris doing better than Trump, where in other polling more consistently, Trump is doing better. So it leads me to sort of question the methodology here. And I actually did want to sort of understand what the deal was and how did they sort of come to these numbers. Luckily, they provide this spreadsheet. This is the same coming from the Emerson polling, and it actually lets you go in and see, well, who did they actually poll and what was their party affiliation? And I found this particularly interesting, or party registration. So for these particular polls, and this is looking at the North Carolina data, when they looked at what your party registration is, Democrat, they had 338 or 33.8% of the total. 36% or 36.6% of those asked were Republicans, and then 29.6% were independent. Now, this is pretty significant. Why? In this poll, they have 3% more Republican represented than Democrat, and then less than all in independents. So this made me curious, and I went over to Ballotopedia, and they apparently have access to the partisan affiliation from the voter registration in various states. Not all the states, but just in the states that it's made public. And we have that information for North Carolina. And what do we find out? In North Carolina, 32.4% are registered Democrats. Only 30% are registered Republicans, and then independents are the largest share at 36.78%. So it gets you to wondering, why did they go in and then sample least of all? Why did they sample least of all the independents, most of all Republicans, and then in the middle was Democrats? And actually, those numbers were significantly off compared to the what the reality is. Again, they polled 33.8% Democrat here, wherein the actual affiliation is 32%. Republican at only 30%, where here, my goodness gracious, I keep losing it. Where here they've polled 36.6%, and then again, independent, I think the most, the furthest off from reality at less than 30%, when in reality, independents are registered at 7 percentage points higher. So their distribution of sampling here is just not reflecting the reality of what people are actually registered as in the state. And so you get a result like that, and then you can sort of check it again with other states. So let's look at, pardon me, let's look at Nevada, for example. Let's look at Nevada. Whoops, what the heck? Nevada top line. Sorry about that. Follow me here for a second. So we go to Nevada top line and we look at the same thing again. All right. So in terms of Democrat, they polled 32%. And let's go back to our map here. Let's see. Democrats are 30% here, Republicans are 28% here, and independents are 32%. And in this polling, we have 32% Democrat, 29% Republican, and 38% independent. Let's check that independent number again. 32% independent, and then there's 7% of other party affiliation. So we are not even sort of accounting for that other. Oh, I guess they include the independent slash other. Okay, so in this case, the Nevada representation is actually quite accurate. And then what did that look like in the Nevada results? Let me go back. Let me go back here and check what they found. Nevada being a statistical type, which is actually quite in line with a lot of the other data. So that Nevada survey looking like it was probably more accurate than the other ones. I wish I had access to the Pennsylvania data. Oh, I do have access to the Pennsylvania data. Okay. So in this case, Pennsylvania Democrats are represented at 44%, Republicans 40%, Independents 11%. Let us go back to our beloved spreadsheet and let's see who they surveyed. So again, right? So look, 44.8% Democrat, 40% Republican. However, in this survey, why would they then go and survey more Republicans at 41%? So a percentage more Republicans. So that's a 6 point swing in terms of inaccuracy. And then they overrepresent independents, right? So overall, we have here, well, I guess again, if you add in those numbers, 11 plus 4, you get about 15. So again, yeah, they're slightly oversampling the independent slash other. They're oversampling Republican, underrepresenting Democrat, again, by proportion. And then when you go and you look at the result, when you look at the result in Pennsylvania, you have Trump, a Republican lean, because you polled Republican leaning and you oversampled independents, which are slightly favoring Trump at the moment, although it is close. And it sort of depends on what state the independents are coming from, but I think you get the point. Again, so, you know, this is seeming to be a lot more noise than anything for me. I'm not going to put a lot of credence in all of these polls. Again, you have to really look at who they are sampling and how that actually reflects reality in these individual states. It seems like some of the states are well sampled and well represented, whereas others, they probably could have done a better job in that sampling. So again, do your own research. And at the end of the day, all that matters is going out and voting for yourself. So that does it for that. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.